What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode or E3 recap day 2. We'll be talking about everything that happened in E3 2021 for today, which is mostly going to be the Square Enix Presents and the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. Joining me tonight is Richard, the man who loves Xbox the most.
I do. I really do.
Steven is here, but he will be joining us shortly. He had something come up and he just needed to take a moment, so he'll be back momentarily. So last night, if you watched the show with us, we had a lot of audio issues, and hopefully those are resolved. So I'm going to take just a moment to make sure that everything's working. So, yep, I can already tell it's working. Thank God. We recorded for about 45 minutes with no audio before somebody said, "Hey, you have no audio." And it wasn't fun. So yesterday we talked about, let's see, what was it? The Ubisoft Forward, the Guerrilla Games Showcase, Devolver Digital. What was the other? There was another big one, wasn't there? We talked about Summer Game Fest.
Devolver. Yeah, Summer Game Fest.
So yeah, we if you want to know more about what our impressions were for Elden Ring and Riders Republic may have been in the part where we but we went back and talked about Elden Ring again, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Battlefield 2042, and all of the little indie games that Richard and Chase and Michael were very interested in. They spent a lot of time talking about those yesterday. So make sure you check out part 1. It is in it's in our list of videos, and I went back and trimmed it so you don't have to scrub through 45 minutes of silence before you get to the good stuff. So while we're waiting on Steven, since he's my other big actual Xbox guy, we're going to go ahead and because Richard's going to roast Microsoft and Phil Spencer and Todd Howard.
No, I'm gonna tone it down. I'm gonna be objective.
Cool.
I'm gonna be objective.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Steven, we're going to go ahead and jump into the Square Enix Presents, which was actually the last showcase that happened for today that we're talking about. We did find out a few minutes ago there was also a PC gaming showcase that we're apparently not prepared to talk about tonight because there's a lot of stuff announced there too. We will include that in tomorrow's night because there's a lot of indie-related stuff that's happening, but nothing like major because the last there's Capcom, right? You said Capcom was tomorrow?
Capcom's tomorrow, and that's it. So we can talk about the future game show tomorrow as well.
So we'll do that, and then, of course, Tuesday is Nintendo, and I think Bandai Namco is also Tuesday. But Tuesday's mostly going to be about Nintendo.
I just had it pulled up. Yes, Tuesday is Bandai and Nintendo.
I swear there was supposed to be a Warner Brothers showcase somewhere in that.
I don't know. There's Thursday, that's July 22nd, July 29th. Never mind. I guess that's not E3, even though it's in the E3 list.
They probably include it because the thing is supposed to be like the Summer of Gaming or something like that, which E3 is supposed to be a part of.
It's EA Play 2021 and then Annapurna Interactive Showcase.
Gotcha. Yeah, there was also a lot of, when we get to the Xbox stuff, they actually announced some other events that are doing more deep dives into some of their other games later in the week that I'll pull that list up as well. So anyway, let's jump into the Square Enix Showcase, which I didn't get to watch live, but I did see this amazing game that got announced, and it's called Guardians of the Galaxy. And I don't know, I did not care for the Avengers game because I don't like live service games, but it's like a single player, no multiplayer, just story, narrative-driven Guardians of the Galaxy. And of course, that's my favorite Marvel comic stuff of all. Anyway. So I'm really excited for Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's coming out in October, that's a pretty quick announcement.
October 26th.
Yep. Very quick turnaround. What did you think about that trailer?
It's not the same people that did Avengers, though, is it?
No,
it's not, and I think that's what I kept trying to tell myself because the gameplay and the engine looked very, very similar. Mm-hmm. At least I thought. I didn't really like Star-Lord's hair.
Yeah, the characters are weird looking.
And you got Rocket's got the little Jack Sparrow kind of beads in his. I think they did a good job. I know they're trying to make their own take on it. which is weird because then they still included like an 80s soundtrack. So I don't know. I'd like to think that they probably pulled some of the more popular elements from reading the comic books and watching the movies. I mean, the most intriguing part, or I wouldn't say intriguing, but the exciting part for me is seeing how deep that whole like branching decision process goes.
Yeah.
And how that affects the story. I like that aspect because, that can really make, if it's really good, it can make like a really unique story for individual players. So I liked that aspect of it. And I mean, aside from the individual looks, I think that's kind of nitpicky. The game really did look beautiful as far as like the landscapes and stuff like that goes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm pumped out. Now I'll get it, obviously.
Yeah. I think one of the things people are really latching onto that they don't like about it, which I don't really care about, is that you only play as Star-Lord. You don't switch between the different characters.
Yeah. I think that's another thing where you kind of gotta remind yourself that this is not the Marvel Avengers crowd. It's not the same developer. It's not the same game. This is a very narrative based experience. So yeah, I know I'm not trying to compare it to the Mass Effect trilogy, but I mean, you were just Shepard there and you made those same kind of decisions that really hinged on what you thought of the other characters, and I feel like that's kind of the same thing I was seeing there, and it worked really well for Mass Effect, so yeah. It's definitely not a downside.
There's a lot of Mass Effect comparisons between this game and that, which I mean, yeah. I never really got into Mass Effect, but I'm totally here for, if this is my somewhat gateway into getting into playing Mass Effect, I mean, cool.
Yeah, I liked the original trilogy. I never picked up that, what did they call that? Mass Effect something.
You my Andromeda?
Yeah, I never picked that up just because it got slammed so hard.
Dude, that game was, I didn't play it, but I've heard so much bad stuff about that game.
Yeah. And that's disappointing because I did play the original. In fact, like, I mean, I'm not going to buy it at the price it's at now, but as soon as it's on sale, I'm going to pick up that trilogy because I mean, I wouldn't mind playing through that again. It's an experience. It's fun.
Yeah. As far as the combat goes in Guardians of the Galaxy, like when I first saw the gameplay, I thought they were using the same engine that they used for Outriders, with some tweaks to it because that's also a Square Enix game. That I was surprised didn't get any like DLC announcements or anything during this. But then they started showing off how you can command all of the other Guardians to like attack enemies and do combos and stuff like that. And then you can also, like, your supers or whatever they're called in this game are actually based off of like 80s music. So,
yeah, I like that aspect. I mean, I think they're definitely doing fan service. So,
so anyway, that's coming out. Was October 26th?
October 26th. Yeah.
My notes I had 22nd, but I also can't read, so that makes sense. Then they announced that Final Fantasy 1 through 6 are coming to Steam and mobile. No release date on that, but they've been dropping old Final Fantasies and stuff on mobile for a while now.
That disappointed me. It really did. What I thought I was seeing was like a trailer for something that would be multi-platform, like a collection, like all 6 in one. When that first started playing, I got so excited, and then I got so let down at the end of that. I feel like that's a missed opportunity right there. I mean, I tell you what. I mean, I wouldn't pay full price, but for the first 6, I'd pay $39.99.
You listening, Square? I mean, they're all available. Like, I know they're at least not available on the Switch eShop, but I don't know how much they are a piece. I think they're like $5 or $6, maybe.
Are they all available?
I think they are.
I'll have to look at that. They might be. I haven't looked
6, 7. I don't know about 8 and 9, but I'm pretty sure 10 and 10.2 are also on Game Pass.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, you're talking about Game Pass. I was talking about Nintendo still. I was like, I know 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm sure we can get a list up at some point. But yeah, we may have talked about this a few weeks ago when they announced that Dragon Quest III was getting that HD 2D thing that they did for whatever it's called, Octopath Traveler. Is there a particular Final Fantasy that you'd like to see if they ever remade one in that kind of art?
No. Chrono Trigger. I will forever. Too bad Steven's not here yet because I know he loves it as much as I do. Chrono Trigger would be the one. Not a Final Fantasy title, but yeah, that was such a. I rank that up there with Mario RPG as far as like just unique experiences.
Oh, cool.
Man, I love Chrono Trigger.
Speaking of Octopath, though, we didn't hear anything about Project Triangle Strategy, which was
No,
their new game that's in that HD 2D. There's a lot of stuff that we didn't hear about from Square. We'll talk more about that at the end of this, though. Legend of Mana coming out for Switch and PS4 on June 24th, so that's not too far away. What was that? Is that 2 weeks from? It's less than 2 weeks from now.
I've always said that, but in the you didn't watch it live, so they kept calling it Legend of Mana. Is it proper to say mana? Like even when I played Magic the Gathering, I'd call it mana. I've never heard it called mana before.
But
So
you call it mana and Magic? I just call it land.
well, hey, look,
Steven is in the chat.
in the chat, but not in the. Okay, there you go.
You joined the wrong way. All right, so we got the War for Wakanda expansion for the Avengers.
That's free.
It's free. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No word on when Spider-Man's coming out for the PlayStation version, though. And then that was announced before all the DLC.
That's so weird. I mean, maybe I don't know how long they're planning on, because personally, I didn't jump on that when it first came out because I believe the press. And then I actually got it later on, and I actually really enjoy. I know you don't like the games as a service, and typically I don't either. So I'll fully admit that I wear Marvel goggles when I play it, but I really enjoy it, and I don't know how far they're going to take it or what to do because, they can do so much. I just don't know what all franchise character wise they have access to. But the Black Panther stuff looks really good.
Maybe they'll end up doing a Guardians of the Galaxy crossover between that. And
that would be awesome. They should.
Then there was a couple of mobile game announcements, which as I was watching the recap, I was like, oh my god, they announced 3 mobile games back to back to back. Hitman Sniper from the Shadows, Nier Reincarnation, and Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. All mobile titles, which mobile gaming, cool, whatever, but
yeah, as I say, I can't no, I can't get into mobile gaming.
I feel like mobile games need to have like their own separate thing, because the reason why they probably don't is because you said, okay, say there was 5 days of E3 and the 5th day was all mobile. Nobody would watch it. So
yeah, no.
They have to shoehorn that stuff into their other presentations because that's the only. Now, if Nintendo is like, "Hey, we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about Fire Emblem mobile," they probably could get away with it. I actually think they've done a Fire Emblem mobile direct before, which is.
I'll be honest. It's rare that I talk good about Nintendo these days, but now as their mobile games, they really do it right because their mobile games that you can pick them up, you can play them just for a few minutes and put them down. Because at least to me, mobile gaming is a huge impulse thing. I'm waiting for something, I'm in line at the drive-thru. I need something quick, and everything that I played from Nintendo Mobile has been just that. So they've knocked it out of the park with that.
Did you ever play the Super Mario run? The first one they ever
did.
To me, I'm not someone who will ever that's the only time I've ever spent money on a mobile game, to buy one. I take that back, Slay the Spire. But anyway, I was like, do I want to pay $10 for a mobile Mario game? Like, hell yeah, I do. And I wore that game out.
Yeah. No, it was fun as hell. It was Mario.
Yeah, pretty much. And now you can play as all these different characters. You can unlock them for free. So it's fun. Anyway, apparently this game had been announced before. I've never heard of it. It's called Babylon's Fall, coming out for PS5, PS4, and Steam. And it looks like in my notes that I wrote on a St. Jude Children's Hospital note thing while I was eating dinner. I wrote down it looks like a 4-player action RPG, and that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I hate to say this because I mean it might be awesome, but it looks like something that I would pick if it was like the free game of the month.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
nothing in it that makes me want to be like, oh, I'm gonna get that. Maybe if I catch it on sale, but yeah,
When I first saw it, like I thought it was like Godfall. I was like, that's weird. Why is this
yeah,
showing
it
up here?
definitely had that kind of.
Um, and then we got two Life is Strange announcements. They're remastering Life is Strange. I guess it's the original one. September 30th. I think it was the date that the date flashed by, and I thought it said September 30th, so I put it on there. I may be false advertising that.
I think it's September 30th as well,
Okay.
but I don't want to. I think I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
And then Life is Strange True Colors, which is the new title, is coming out September 10th, which is weird that they're releasing the sequel before the first game in the same month.
If our dates are correct.
If the dates are correct.
If our dates are correct.
I may look it up here in a minute. And then finally, Final Fantasy. Or actually, the correct way to say this is Stranger of Paradise: Final Fantasy Origins, which is something we talked about a few weeks ago, which is the Souls-like Final Fantasy game.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Um, I want to like it because I like those games, and then the development studio that did it, the same one that did the Neo 1 and 2, and Neo were really really good. And I think my problem with the video that I saw today, there's Steven.
There's Steven.
Chrono Trigger.
Yep. The problem that I saw with the video today is that when I put that beside Neo, it looks so unpolished and just, I don't know where they are in the development cycle on that. I don't know. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, so of course you're going to have like a party with you, and that kind of takes away from like the whole Souls thing to me. I don't know. I'm gonna reserve a lot of my judgment on that, just because I don't know how far along they are. It didn't look too Souls-ish to me, but I mean, I could be wrong. It could be that, they're just not far enough along into it to really be able to showcase something, but they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to follow it and see where it goes, but I'm not overly impressed so far. But I think it's because they're not deep enough into it yet to showcase it.
Yeah. Well, Steven, you have joined us. As I pretty much kind of figured it would get through all the Square stuff before you were able to hop in, so we should talk about Xbox. Was there anything from the Square Enix presentation that stuck out to you that you want to highlight real quick before we jump on to Xbox? Or do you want me to give the rundown of the list?
Yeah, give me a rundown.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy coming out October 26th. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 coming to Steam and mobile. Legends of Mana for Switch and PS4 on June 24th. The Avengers War for Wakanda expansion. I'm not going to do the mobile games. Babylon's Fall, PS5, PS4, and Steam. Life is Strange remastered on allegedly September 30th. And Life is Strange True Colors allegedly September 10th. And then Final Fantasy Origins Strangers of Paradise. I said that backwards anyway. Which is the air quotes Souls-like Final Fantasy game.
What? A Souls-like Final Fantasy game.
Air quotes.
Yep.
That doesn't even belong in the same universe in my eyes. Like, you can make mistakes with Final Fantasy. Like Richard was pointing out, I was trying to put the 2 and 2 together, exactly what he was talking about. Dark Souls and having a party following you, it just does not make sense. It shouldn't be there. But as far as, I mean, I'm willing to look into it and see how it goes. But as far as like the Final Fantasies, now I have not completed every single Final Fantasy, but regardless, I love the storyline that they bring to it, even though it's kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
I kind of lost track after Sephiroth.
Yeah.
But
how do you top Sephiroth? So
So, but yeah, it seems like it's a post-apocalyptic world. Excuse me, I can't talk today. But still, nonetheless, I like it. I like what it has to offer. It's fun. It gives you something to do at the time, and The characters don't seem all that bad. The storyline doesn't seem all that bad. So I would really like to see what they're doing years and years down the line uh, with Final Fantasy. Like, are they adding anything new with the 1 through 6 or
Nope.
nothing?
No, what didn't it say they were remastered? Which I mean, that doesn't mean a lot, but
The exact terminology was like pixel made. I think that's what the I'm gonna look for.
yeah, I don't know. I think they kind of spruced it up, but they didn't do anything overly.
Yeah. While I'm in here looking that up, I will get the official release dates for Life is Strange. So,
Life is Strange. Unless you're streaming it, I'm not gonna play it because it's like a Telltale game, isn't it?
sort of.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy is going pixelated with the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, which will feature the first 6 games, will be coming to Steam and mobile.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, we have all of this money going into next gen consoles, updating everything, and all we get is a pixel remaster.
Yes.
I mean, I'm still happy for it because they're still showing love to the diehard fans of the previous sagas of the game by porting it over into either a streaming service or one of the next gen consoles. I'm happy that they're still showing love for other people, but I would really like something new. But yeah, other than that,
I would like to give an update. I was correct on my release dates. So, Life is Strange True Colors is September 10th, and the Life is Strange Remaster Collection is coming out September 30th, but it includes Life is Strange 1, 2, and Before the Storm. So, also with Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise, there is a demo coming out in the near future for PS5. So, if you have a PS5, you can... No, but it's coming to all platforms. But the demo is coming to PS5 at least first.
well, Xbox can't have it all, right?
Nope, but what they can have is Starfield.
Understatement.
Bam. Segue. I had to do it. So anyway, now we're going to jump into the Xbox Bethesda showcase. Richard is dying to talk about Starfield.
Alex, and I said I'm going to be... Well, there's not really much you can say about it.
True.
Other than it's coming and it's exclusive.
Yeah. So before the show began, about 30 minutes ahead of time, the Washington Post decided to say, hey, what if we just dump the Starfield trailer early? And they did. So they stole the big announcement, or one of the biggest announcements from Xbox's show, that Starfield is coming out next year, November 11th, 2022, and it is an Xbox console exclusive game. So, I guess, what is this quote right here? It says, Todd Howard and Bethesda's Ashley Ching describe Starfield as Skyrim in space and a Han Solo simulator. Which, I like the first half of that. But then you start throwing Star Wars into it, and I'm like, oh.
It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I know it. To me, I think it's probably going to be bland and generic. And the only reason I say that is because there was another interview where Todd Howard kept saying that it's a lot like Skyrim. It's a lot like Skyrim. So, to me, that terminology is like telling somebody, well, it tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Just to get them to eat it, it's everything tastes like chicken, so I don't know. You can't really glean a lot from the trailer. I don't see how they're going to do it, because when you get into like a space sim like that, a big part of that has to be exploration. Mm-hmm. And you think of Skyrim and that sort of exploration, you're still on a planet. You're on one planet, mm-hmm. and you go to different regions and different cities. So is it you crash land, or you land for some kind of investigative study on a single planet that has like settlements and stuff like that? Or is there some sort of a space travel type aspect to it where you go to different planets? I think there's there's still a lot more questions that need to be answered before any type of real hype train can be put behind it.
Yeah. I think the weirdest thing is that they announced Starfield because they had to. What was the purpose in announcing the Outer Worlds 2? They're the same damn game. Like Obsidian, which the previous game before, they're also working on Avowed. But one of their most highly reputable games they ever made was Fallout 76. And whenever Outer Worlds
New
came,
Vegas.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, New Vegas. And then when Outer Worlds came out, what did people say about it? It's like Fallout in space. So now you got Skyrim in space and Fallout in space. And Fallout and Skyrim are very similar games.
Really similar.
So I'm actually gonna jump down to Outer Worlds 2 real quick because I want to see. Did they give a release date? No, they didn't. So,
no, they only confirmed the title.
Yeah. So.
And that's it.
Which also got.
You didn't watch the trailer?
I was working.
Oh, dude, the trailer, they just showed stuff that they said wouldn't even be in the game.
Oh. No.
Yeah.
No,
I
watched most of this. But
it wasn't even like a sci-fi monster. They showcased some kind of monster that would be like from some medieval RPG. And they're like, look at this monster. You'll never see this again because it's not in the game that we're developing. And then it went to this other thing. Like, nothing that you saw in the trailer had anything to do with Outer Worlds 2.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They said that they hadn't developed anything yet. The only thing that they had was a title. And Outer Worlds 2 was going to be called Outer Worlds 2. So, I don't even, yeah.
Which is weird because I think they still have a new expansion for Outer Worlds 1 that's either it just came out or it's coming out this year called The Terror on Gorgon or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer was very comedic. I mean, I'll give it that. It was one of the high points for someone who hates Microsoft. It was one of the high points. That's how funny it was. But yeah, I mean, they didn't really confirm anything other than the title.
Well, one of the games they also announced and confirmed to be coming out this year, Forza Horizon 5, taking the Forza Horizon series to Mexico. You have to understand, like, I was working and listening to most of this. I was on the back half of the show because I caught the first half. I wanted to make sure I saw Halo, which I'll save for the end because that's my biggest hype thing out of this. But one of the things that caught me that I heard them talk about was when they were in Mexico shooting some of the scene. They were shooting it like an entire day on a 12K camera, which I've never heard about before. And they were just like, they would just capture a scene or part of the environment in Mexico, wherever they were shooting at, and would just shoot it with a 12K camera for like a 24 hours straight. And I was like, holy crap, that's so much raw data. Like,
oh, I know what they were talking about, the sky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because they want to do like realistic environmental vistas and stuff like that. So yeah, they recorded like so many hours of just the sky and how it moves. You know, as far as the sun coming up, sun going down, clouds and stuff like that. The game looked beautiful. They talked about, you know, going into distinct areas of Mexico that were entirely authentic. Like if you were to get in your car and drive to Mexico, you could drive to some of these places in the game and it would be exact, almost like a, hell, I don't even know what you would want to call it. Like just a replica, an exact replica, even down to like some of the graffiti on the walls. You know, you could go see it in the game and it's the exact same thing. I thought that was spectacular, how much time they spent to basically recreate Mexico. And then what I thought was really cool was that there's a single player campaign to this where don't hold me to this. To my understanding of what it sounded like they're talking about, you're some kind of a journalist and you're taking like pictures and stuff of different areas of Mexico and like guiding out sort of like I I don't know if you're mapping like a race or something like that. But anyway, I thought that was pretty unique and interesting for because typically with car games, if there's some kind of campaign mode, it's okay, it's racing.
Yeah.
It's all about racing. So it's something new. I thought it was innovative.
In Forza Horizon 4, they have this thing called Drivatars, and pretty much anyone else that's been playing the same game, whenever how whenever in best example I have is when Mario Kart, you can set those ghosts where it would track you and it would do that. It's like that. So I can see David, for example, he's played it a little bit. When I'm driving down a road that it's tracked David driving down, it'll have a ghost car of David's car driving down the street and doing whatever David did. So I can see David wreck. If David ate shit going around a corner, it'll show it to me. But it's really cool. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And like you said, Forza games are they're showpieces for consoles and how beautiful the games can be. So I'm excited to try that. But for the record, everything that we're going to talk about in this Xbox presentation is day one on Game Pass, unless I specifically say otherwise, like Diablo 2 Resurrected.
I felt like they just put that in front of everything, so I was just day one Game Pass, of course.
Pretty much it all is, except for I think Diablo. Confirmed to be coming out September 23rd, and was going to feature 8-player co-op and will run at up to 4K 60 FPS. And that has cross save and cross progression on all platforms. And if you are someone who played the original Diablo 2, you can actually move your saves over if you still have that somewhere on an old computer. Let's see. Stalker 2. We got a big gameplay trailer for Stalker 2 that's coming out next year on April 28th. Chase and the guy I work with was talking about how they got a lot of Death Stranding vibes, but not quite Death Stranding from it. Which, I mean, if that's how you feel about it. I never played Death Stranding, so I'm not the biggest judge on that. It looked cool though. There's a lot of human on human conflict, and then there's some kind of, I don't know if you want to call it. I mean, it's set in Chernobyl, so it could be Parasite, Alien, something or others. It looks better than Rainbow Six Extraction, which we talked about yesterday.
Well, if they're going to compare it to Death Stranding, I would say that this is like a patience game. Not in the sense of how you would have to have patience with Dark Souls. This is a patience game. They could give you an objective. It could be set to moderate, and it could literally take you 20 minutes of just holding the analog stick up to get to your destination with no vehicle. If they're talking about that, this is going to be definitely a patience game. If you don't have a couple of hours in one sitting to play this game, that game is not going to be for you. But one thing that Death Stranding did have that this game seems like it's going to have, like you were saying, the conflict. The story was thick, and it didn't really leave you any loopholes, and you were satisfied for the story at the end. It pretty much just gave you what you needed to hear. Whether you liked it or not, it filled in all the blanks. So if that's what they're going for, if that's what they're saying it's going to be, then, I mean, the ending will be good, but it's definitely going to be a patience game.
I'm pretty pumped for it. I'm a big FPS fan, so even if I'll at least give it a try before I turn my nose up to it, I guess, best way to put it. They announced that Back 4 Blood is going to be available on Game Pass day one. That was also a big part of that leak that was going around from the guy who leaked Mario Rabbids. So every time one of these showcases goes off, that guy gets a little more credible. So I don't know how I feel about him being correct on the Nintendo Direct leak for Tuesday yet.
Wait. Back 4 Blood isn't out already?
No, it comes out October 12th. It got delayed last year. And then they shot for an as close to Halloween as possible release date.
I just didn't know that they sent out demos to like YouTubers and stuff like that early, because there's like plenty of YouTubers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Think of a big name, and I guarantee you they've played the demo
Yeah,
or the multiplayer aspect of it.
it was it was a technical alpha, I think is what they classified it as. It was back in February, I think. So they might actually end up having a beta at some point just to test the servers again. But yeah, that's made by Turtle Rock Studios, who made oh god, what is it called? It was that one game where it was like the one alien versus the 5 humans. It did not do well whatsoever. And then before that, the people who made Turtle Rock were the original dev team behind Left 4 Dead, though. So I mean, that's pretty much what this is a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. Richard, how did you? I didn't get to talk to you during this one, but what about Redfall, the vampire shooter from Arcane Studios? Not a fan?
No. I mean, I don't. Okay, to me it looked like it's definitely a multiplayer co-op style game, and I've kind of touched on it before, but I've never really went into specifics on why I don't like multiplayer and co-op. I really like watching movies,
Mm-hmm.
and what I don't like is people that talk during movies. So when I'm playing a game, to me it's a really immersive experience. And if I'm playing with other people, naturally they're going to be talking, and it irritates me at just like enough of a level that I don't prefer it. I'll do it sometimes because I think Mitch, we've played Grand Theft Auto before.
Mm-hmm.
It's been ages ago. If something comes along that I want to experience, I'll do it. But it's not something that I go out of my way for.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a strong co-op vibe from that game. Like, this game is meant to be co-op. It looked very stylish. It looked cool. I won't discredit it as far as that goes. I'll just say that it wasn't my cup of tea because I really feel like it's made for co-op.
Yeah.
Which co-op is not made for me. So
I think it really just depends on the type of game. Like if you're playing like an immersive, like first person kind of game, I totally get that. But like if Grand Theft Auto, especially a game like GTA 5 that's been around for a decade.
Yeah, I mean,
longer,
we've been playing it since we were like 8, so that's what it feels like.
Yeah, when that came out 2013, I believe I graduated high school the same year that GTA 5 came out.
Yeah.
Has it really been that long?
Yes. So
yeah, dude, it came
ago.
Came out it came out in October, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it came out October 2013 for current or the 360 and PS3, and then came out a year later for the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, I remember being at Walmart in line to pick it up and feeling so guilty because my daughter had just been born, and I had left. I mean, she was with her mother. I didn't just leave a newborn home alone. That sounded weird the way I said it, but you want to be home during stuff like that. But it was Grand Theft Auto 5,
Yeah, priorities. They announced this game called Contraband from the Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios, but it was just a trailer that had like some 70s music, and then had like a little post-it note that said open world, and then it said like, what was the other one that said like multiplayer or something, and then that was it. Called it a day. That was a dumb trailer. They could have saved 30 minutes and just not 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
It was a good song. I can't remember the song. It was a good song.
Yeah.
About it.
Sea of Thieves is getting a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, which I'm slightly more interested in playing, especially if Captain Jack Sparrow is actually voiced by Johnny Depp and not just somebody who sounds a lot like Johnny Depp, because that has a lot of deeper meaning than I think some people would actually think about. What were you going to say, Richard, before I keep going?
There were moments where I thought it sounded just like him, and then there were moments where I thought it sounded like an impersonator. That's probably not the right word, but it's so close. I don't. Did you guys ever play the Back to the Future Telltale game?
No.
Dude, the kid that they got to do Marty McFly, I mean, he sounded just like Michael J. Fox to the extent that it would blow you away how close it was. So, it wouldn't shock me if it's not Johnny Depp. It's just a guy that did it really close. But, man, there were moments, though, it really sounded like him.
Not to go down this rabbit hole too much, but if that is him, then that means that Disney's reinstated Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, and when they reboot Pirates of the Caribbean, he got his job back, which means that fuck you, Amber Heard. Anyway, Yakuza Like a Dragon coming to Game Pass. That was their big available now thing. They showed off a new gameplay trailer for Battlefield 2042, and that game looks gorgeous, but I don't think that was the best showing of gameplay, because it was like a snippet highlight reel of multiplayer. Instead, I would have just rather than gave me like a 5-minute presentation that was just like a single game, like just a match from start to finish of team deathmatch or whatever. I feel like it would have performed better in the showcase, but I know that there's a lot of stuff they had to cover. Like they wanted to show off like that desert tornado. They wanted to show off some of the new vehicles and the wingsuits and everything like that. So I get it. I don't know how you say this. The Eiyuden Chronicles. They showed off 2 of them. One of which comes out next year, and then one of them, what is it? Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes coming out 2023, which I think this is the first game that's been given an actual 2023 release date. Steven, I love your little Zelda pin you just attached to your microphone. So yeah, I think that's the first 2023 game I've seen pop up. I don't remember much about that trailer though. 12 minutes featuring Daisy Ridley and James McAvoy as the voice actors. It's like a very the game it takes place over 12 minutes, and it's like the guy's like stuck in a time loop, and you're trying to figure out all his fun stuff. That is coming out August 19th, and of course on Game Pass day 1. Psychonauts 2 release date for August 25th. I've not seen much on Psychonauts up until this trailer, and I'm sold. Like I love Tim Schafer games, and I need to go back and play the first one, I guess. But I love.
You never played the first one?
Mm-mm.
Wow. I played the first one.
It looks good.
I think I played it on PlayStation 2. I believe. So this would be another franchise that, in the spirit of making games more accessible, Microsoft made inaccessible.
Yeah.
Art style looks familiar on Psychonauts. I really can't place my finger what it looks like.
A couple of games do that. Almost like there's like something. I think it's called Tearaway or something. I've seen that art style in a couple of different kind of indie style games.
Were they made by Double Fine? It looks like the same art style. So. It looks like a more cartoony version of the Brutal Legend art style to me. Which, speaking of, that rumor that Double Fine's going to do a reboot of Banjo-Kazooie needs to be real, and they need to get the F on it. Stat.
Mitch, that's not Johnny Depp.
Please don't hold your breath, though.
Damn.
Sorry.
Well, still, fuck you, Amber Heard. Hurting my mans like that. Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to the Xbox Series X and S on July 27th. With a Top Gun themed expansion. So, hope you like Top Gun. Hope you like flying planes, because I couldn't figure this shit out, and I got a 108 key keyboard in front of me, and I couldn't fly a damn plane. So, if you're good at it, cool. Buy a flight stick if you can't. Age of Empires 4 coming out October 28th as an big. That's not a Xbox exclusive though, is it? I don't think it is.
But I mean, it'll just. That's. I don't know. I've never played a game like that with a controller. Can you? I don't understand how you would play an RTS with a controller. That's keyboard and mouse.
You need to play this really cool RTS game they came out with called Mario plus Rabbids.
No. Would you call it an RTS or would you call that like a tactics?
Oh wait, yeah, that's a tactics, not an RTS.
Yeah. Come on now.
They announced a bunch of new Bethesda games coming to Game Pass. Doom Eternal is already on Game Pass, I believe, but it's also getting a next-gen upgrade on June 29th. Will allow the game to run at 60 FPS with ray tracing, but also options to run at 120 FPS at a lower graphics setting. The Evil Within 2, Rage, Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout Tactics, Dishonored, and Arx Fatalis are also coming to Game Pass. Fallout 76 Steel Rain DLC is coming out July 7th. Expeditions The Pit is coming out in 2022. Did we ever get confirmation about which one, if all of that was coming to all platforms, or just the? I'm pretty sure that Steel Rain's on everything, but about The Pit, did they confirm that at all?
I can look it up really quick. I don't. Chase was probably right. I mean, they're not going to put the PlayStation logo at the bottom of something like that. I just, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to do a dick move like that. But, that to me, that's like an elevation of dickness.
Yeah, I think for games that are already out, they're going to continue to support them on all platforms, but just like new stuff probably isn't. I'm still convinced that the Elder Scrolls 6, when that finally comes out, it'll come to PlayStation 2. I think they know that there's just too much of a demand for that game on other platforms to not do it. But speaking of Elder Scrolls, the Elder Scrolls Online console enhanced version coming out June 15th. So that's on Tuesday. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite games they announced, and I don't know what the hell it is, but it's called Party Animals. And it's a competitive brawler game where you play these cute-ass animals. And it's really a Michael Stahl's game. Like, I wish Michael could have been here to talk about it.
Sorry.
But, man, that game looks hilarious.
Do you have the developer of that?
Party Animals.
Is it Bone Loaf?
I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Recreate Games.
Oops. Sorry,
Oh,
T-Mobile.
okay. So,
What'd you say it was?
Recreate Games
Oof.
is the developer.
Gotcha.
because it almost reminded me of Gang Beast, just a little bit.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know what showcase it was at. Haven't heard anything about it since the original announcement. But there was this game. It had this similar art style. It was really cute and stupid looking, but it was called An Airport for Aliens Run by Dogs. And I want to know more about that.
Is that really the name?
Yes, that's the real name of that game. And I want to know more about it. Hades is coming to, which was everyone's pretty much game of the year last year. Won game of the year at the Game Awards and the BAFTAs and wherever else it was at. It's coming out on Game Pass on August 13th. This is going to be more of your like indie, your indie games. Somerville coming out Xbox Game Pass in 2022. A Plague Tale Requiem coming out in 2022 as well. I don't really know much about these games. There's a new presentation for Far Cry 6, which I'm pretty sure we need to stop seeing Far Cry 6 at this point. It's been in literally every single showcase so far. It almost showed up at Square's, I'm sure. They had to say, Ubisoft, you can't show that game here, man. We don't own that one. Can't show that up. Slime Rancher 2 coming out as an Xbox exclusive next year. A new snowboarding game, Shredders, coming out in December, which I feel like is going to have a really hard time coming up against Riders Republic, which is also a snowboarding game, but is also a bicycle, jetpack, hover car, motorcycle, everything else game. All right.
What's the name of it?
The snowboarding one, or the one that's got everything?
Yes.
The snowboarding
the one that's got everything.
Riders Republic. It's a MMO trials, pretty much. 64 player, only online Trials, but with everything.
I am so in, man.
Dude, that game looks great.
I'm so in.
No roller skates though. I'm really upset.
Look, I just got through talking about how I didn't like multiplayer games, but I am so in.
Hey, but that's the type of game you don't have to like talk to anybody to. You can just get on a bike and just race people.
That's true. That's true.
Atomic Heart coming out whenever it comes out. No release date given, but it's like day one on Game Pass. And then this game called Replaced. Did I miss like 30 minutes of this show? Must have fell asleep while I was working. 2.5D cyberpunk thriller coming out next year as an Xbox exclusive.
Wait, are you talking about the Microsoft show? I fell asleep like twice, so
Wow.
it might have been.
Grounded is getting the Shroom and Doom update, adding gigantic scary monsters and arachnophobia mode where you can make the spiders go away.
Turn it into a ball.
Which is so
That's
fun.
one of those. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out. That's one of the little bites from me not liking Microsoft, because I love the whole survival crafting style thing, and I love the Honey I Shrunk the Kids vibe.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah.
But I thought that was still in alpha. So they released the whole game?
No, it's still in game preview.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's so. I don't know the exact specifics behind, especially with Grounded, but I can tell you with games like Fortnite and maybe not Apex or COD, but with Fortnite in particular, the game technically is always in early access because there's a lawsuit against Fortnite from, I want to say, the people who made H1Z1. Because they had trademarked some of the stuff that Fortnite did whenever in this Battle Royale mode, but they can't sue them over it as long as the game is technically in a game preview and is not released. It's some technical difficulty or
that's an awesome loophole.
Yeah, I'm sure that didn't get brought up in the Epic versus Apple versus Microsoft versus Nintendo versus Sony versus anyone else, the kitchen sink court case. Among Us, we talked about this the other day, getting 15-player lobbies and new colors and a new map that's 1 pixel big. The Ascent coming to Game Pass on July 29th. And finally, what I think is the biggest announcement for this, even though we've already heard about it, Halo Infinite. They showed off a brand new campaign trailer. They showed how much the environments have improved since last year, whenever the game was damned to all hell for how bad some of the character models and the environments looked. And it looked so much better. They showed off a new campaign snippet featuring not Cortana, but some other AI that looks a lot like Cortana. And
Cortana's dead.
Cortana is dead. And then they showed off multiplayer, which is I in my car, I was watching this trailer on my phone, and I saw this Spartan use a grapple hook, and he grabbed a power cell thing, and then immediately took it in his hand and threw it at a car, and it exploded, and I went, oh my god, this is awesome. And then I see him use the same grapple hook and cling on to something on the ceiling and fly all the way to the top, and then no scope some poor fucker on the other side of the map, and I went, yes! And I like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to lose my shit over a trailer, and it's only happened 3 times in recent memory. It was that, when they announced Banjo-Kazooie for Smash Brothers, which was a bigger deal in every way, shape, or form, and then when they announced Smash was coming to the Switch, which I was in the break room at work when that happened, and I made a scene. I love Smash Brothers. I can't help it. So, but anyway, that's all the Xbox stuff. Is there something that, I mean, and we kind of already talked about most of this stuff, but like, was there something from the event that stuck out to you as maybe not I said best in show earlier, and I got in a fight with Alex. So I'm gonna say, was there something?
Yes.
Was there something at the event that stuck out to you as the best thing that they showed off, even if you are not someone who plays Xbox?
I'm just gonna put kerosene on the fire here. Halo. It's just different elements that they're bringing to it that just didn't seem that it was going to be feasible in the game at all. I was going to make a little joke, but you seemed a little too excited about it. I was going to say they took from Legend of Zelda with the hook shot, and they took away from Apex Legends with the power cell. But
well, to be fair, power cells have been in Halo since Halo 1. But I will give you the hook shot thing. But I love Zelda, so I don't care.
But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty old franchise, and still having something to contribute and bring to the table to bring in new people, to rally up the old people, and that's something that I think a lot of game studios and developers strive for. If they've got a game that's 5+ years old, um, and they haven't came out with anything else, that was the point of DLC in most cases. And it's really rare for a sequel to be good and to have extra elements into it. Usually, they settle for one or the other, or they just bring some type of genius of the generation in, and they turn it into another masterpiece, which isn't uh, feasible to say nowadays. But yeah, it's just great that they're still able to contribute to the table, and still be relevant after all this time. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Richard?
What's up?
Is there one thing from the Xbox show that stuck out that you're like, this is kind of cool, even though I'm not going to buy a Bethesda box?
Todd Howard in the very beginning, how he was only on there for like what?
Maybe
not even a minute. Not even a minute. Maybe a minute. Probably too ashamed to show his face. No. I thought Forza. I thought Forza was pretty innovative in their approach. I don't want to like wrap everything from the podcast up so quick, but I think we didn't see Fable.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Square Enix, we didn't see Final Fantasy 16. We didn't see really anything about the Final Fantasy remake. I think we got just like a little snippet of Yuffie fighting for Intergrade, which is that available now? I didn't think it was out now.
It's
June 13th. Did it?
I think it's out this Friday.
Oh, this Friday. Okay, I thought it said available now. It's kind of threw me off.
It may be,
but I don't. They're just. I don't know. Square to me didn't really bring anything unexpected. I mean, they did have Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean, I had no clue that was coming. But I don't know. As far as like expectation wise, I don't think there was anything that and I'm not an Xbox guy, but I'm sure all you guys are going to talk about fucking Halo for like until Christmas. But I mean, there was nothing really new, or I don't know. I kind of felt like the whole show never mind. What I was going to say was stupid. I was going to say it felt like the whole show just catered to Xbox people. Well, of course it fucking did. So, I'll give them where it's due. I think Forza looks really special. I have never played Halo at all. There's just nothing about it that strikes me as appealing. But I've seen just about like every trailer, because I mean, God, it's everywhere. Every time there's something comes out. From just a trailer standpoint, I didn't see anything that I felt like I hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a Halo guy, so I don't know. Microsoft had a show, Sony hasn't, and they're not on the book. So I mean, I can't throw shade too hard. But overall, I think they've kind of lined up the next year pretty well. Guerrilla Games still has the best show so far.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's nice to hear.
I'm just glad to finally
I said I'd be objective.
I'm just glad to finally be at a point where we can say that the Xbox has no games argument is dead for the most part. Now, granted, did they have to pay $7.5 billion to get 3 of these games on this list for today? Yeah, but you know.
No.
So yeah, kind of just bouncing off something Richard said about games we didn't see. So yeah, for the Square thing, we didn't see Final Fantasy 16. I thought that the Final Fantasy Origins was you're talking about Final Fantasy 7 remake, like Part 2. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, anything as far as that goes.
We didn't see Forspoken, which I think that's still slated for 2022. Maybe that's going to get its own state of play or something here soon. We didn't see Fable. We didn't see Perfect Dark. We didn't see what else was that other one? We didn't. Of course, they're not going to show off the reboot of Forza when they're showing off Forza Horizon 5, but that's probably next year's Forza game.
No Banjo-Kazooie remake?
No Banjo-Kazooie. No Brutal Legend 2. Man, let me down. Oh God, well, there was another one I was going to bring up too. No Avowed. Which is Obsidian's new big fantasy RPG. There's another one I'm forgetting, and I'm gonna be so mad whenever we end this thing and I forgot about it. Oh, State of Decay 3. No State of Decay 3.
No State of Decay 3.
That's a little upsetting. I was really expecting that. I thought maybe that game would be more in development, but
okay. We have a dislike. I wonder who we upset.
probably you.
No, it's not me. It's not me.
You were Alex.
It could be.
Alex, yeah, I can see that.
Got ratioed by. Well, there's 6 likes and 1 dislike, so get ratioed whoever disliked this. I guess real quick, I forgot to mention Halo does not have an official release date, but it is slated for holiday of this year, and the multiplayer is going to be free to play, and they are pretty much this is the one game that, since they're targeting it as a games as a service, I'm gonna let it slip because it's really hard to fuck up Halo unless you're Halo 4. But everyone gets one.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that is going to do it for our E3 recap day 2, featuring the Xbox Bethesda showcase and the Square Enix Presents. So make sure you tune in tomorrow where we'll be breaking down. What was it called? The Future Game Show? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, let me see. It is Future Game Show presented by Western Digital Black.
Yeah. So that actually happened today, but it happened so late in the day we didn't have time to prepare for it. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Any other random game announcements that pop up throughout the day. And then, so tomorrow's episode may be a little bit shorter, just depending on where we're at. And then Tuesday, we will have the final E3 day, which is going to be Nintendo and Bandai Namco. And we are going to probably have a couple of special guests on the show, because I have other people that are very interested in voicing their Nintendo opinions, because there are lots of people very excited to see what happens with Breath of the Wild 2. Is the Switch Pro real? By the way, the Switch Pro popped up on GameStop's website this morning, so more smoke leading to a fire that's going to happen. So there still possibly is a Switch Pro announcement imminent. But anyway, yeah, Breath of the Wild 2, Mario Kart 9, Richard's favorite game, Mario Rabbids, Stars of Hope.
Craig's game.
Shout out to Craig. I got this game of the year. Probably disliked the video this time because we didn't talk about it enough, so take your dislike back. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. We will see you tomorrow night, 9:30, same time. Until then, have a good day. Happy E3. What?
I'm going to call it. Nintendo is going to be the star of this E3.
If
they're going to do it.
If the... I guess before we close, we don't have Michael here to give us a plug, so I'm just going to take this second to say that this E3 is brought to you by whoever leaked Mario Rabbids Stars of Hope and leaked the Nintendo Direct's entire lineup, and we'll know for a fact if he's right, if Crash Bandicoot is announced for Smash at the beginning of the Direct on Tuesday. So if he is, Have fun. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Central. Have a good evening and